Okay, hello, my name is Maddy Salyer. I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about why Protestantism is the actual true faith, or contrary to the bureaucracy and pride of the Catholic Church. And the problem is this: there are millions of people around the world who are living a lie by believing in the Catholic Church. I mean, they're enslaved by these ideas that aren't valid, let alone biblical. All right, so first off, what is Catholicism in its essence? It's the self-proclaimed one true church. It says that's in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which is the big book of dogma, pretty much. And it is the original church that was founded by Peter as the first pope, and the succession just has continued from there. What is Protestantism? Protestantism is the Reformed church because in 1517, Martin Luther got a little ticked off, because, reasonably so, because the church was selling indulgences. And for those of you who don't know what an indulgence is, it is a physical measure of grace that will reduce your time in purgatory or your punishment in purgatory, which is not biblical whatsoever. Nowhere in the Bible does it mention anything about purgatory, or for that matter, grace being something that you can get more of by doing certain things. All right, so one of the issues with the Catholic Church is that they believe that the Pope and the Church are completely infallible. This simply isn't true. I mean, with the sale of indulgences, like as I said before, they are grace. So if you can measure the amount of grace, doesn't that put limits on God? And all humans are fallible. Peter, the first pope, the one that Jesus himself appointed to be the head of his church, denied Christ 3 times. So you can't say that the Pope is infallible if the original one was a huge sinner. And by saying that the church and the Pope are infallible, it's the equivalent of raising the church and the Pope almost to the level of God, which is a form of idolatry. Secondly, works are required for salvation. In the Catechism of the Catholic Church, that book that I mentioned earlier, the giant book of dogma, all of our rules are in there. It says the specific precepts of the natural law, because their observance demanded by the Creator, is necessary for salvation. Where in the Bible does it say that works save you? It doesn't. So that all men may attain salvation through faith, baptism, and the observance of the commandments. Again, it does not say that anywhere. In the same way, faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead. That is the foundation of this rule. That is James 2:17, and so this is where the Catholics derive their faith in these 2 rules up here. But Paul also says, "For it is by grace you have been saved, through faith, and this is not from yourself, it is the grace of God." So you aren't saved through works. Yes, faith without works is dead, but if you're truly transformed and you have true faith, then the works are going to come naturally. It's not the works that get you there, it's the faith, because the faith produces the works. And this is a huge proponent in guilt. Catholics are notorious for guilt. And because they constantly feel like they're not good enough. I mean, I know from experience, there's just, you can never do enough right because you have to do the works in order to get saved. All right, so some counterclaims. There's no way to know if Scripture is being interpreted correctly outside of the church, because the church is the one true authority, correct? But that's such flawed logic. The test, you can test the claims about the faith against Scripture. If it doesn't agree with Scripture, it's not true. And all humans, again, are fallible. So if the church, a human institution, is proclaiming one thing that doesn't agree with Scripture, just because it comes from the church, does that mean that it's biblical and scriptural? Not necessarily. And another counterclaim, sola scriptura, Scripture alone, isn't mentioned in the Bible. Because, okay, so background on this, Catholics really, really like to use tradition. because it's in the Catechism it says that tradition and Scripture are of equal weight. And the only reason behind this is that they say sola scriptura is not mentioned in the Bible and is therefore not biblical. Where in the Bible, tell me, where in the Bible is the Trinity? It's not mentioned. So does that mean that the Trinity isn't biblical? No, of course not. And the magisterium, again, a human institution put in place by the Catholic Church. They're the ones who are writing all of these things in the Catholic, or in the Catechism. Okay, why is this important? All right. Salvation isn't at stake, but Jesus didn't want us to have hope for, or didn't Jesus want us to have hope for a future and live freely? He didn't want us to live with guilt and a big cloud of chains hanging over our heads just because we feel enslaved by this institution that was put in place by humans. And secondly, it avoids idolatry by making the church secondary to Jesus, the one true Redeemer, because the church itself cannot save. So how can we prevent this from spreading? Evangelize and spread hope, not guilt. And simply tell the truth. Thank you.